everyone. It is Wednesday. On today's show, we are going to talk about transforming the future of homeownership in America, a new chapter in real estate equality. But before we get started, I want to remind you that Selling Sacramento is brought to you by Matthews and Company Realty Group. I am Key Matthews, the broker and owner with over 21 years in the industry, and I love helping you buy, sell, and retain real estate. So if you have a home to sell, if you're ready to have the conversation and map out a plan towards home ownership, visit my website at agentkey.com, agentkee.com, like so many others have, and thank you, and schedule your free consultation. On my website, at the top, you will find links to email me, chat with me, set up a new buyer consultation, or start the process of getting your home sold. We are actually live right now today on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Selling Sacramento Agent Key on your favorite platform and join the conversation. If you need to get away from your radio and you still have access to your phone, you can always listen to 97.5 FM KDEE by going to our website and clicking on the Listen Live tab. So you will never be without us. Now let's get on to today's show. Again, transforming the future of homeownership in America. And I'm subtitling our show today, A New Chapter in Real Estate Equality. So here's the scoop. We've got this particularly compelling topic that's at the forefront of our industry and our community. We're going to dive into it today. And it's not just about property and prices, but it's also today, it's about justice, equity, and the future of homeownership. So I'm going to set the stage for our discussion. I'm going to first read an insightful article from Inman News titled How the Sitzer-Burnett Decision Hurts Minority Homebuyers. And this piece sheds light on a recent lawsuit and its potential ripples that are going to impact the real estate landscape. Real estate will be changing as a result of this lawsuit and the results of this lawsuit. The industry was already in the process of changing, but this is going to change it even more and probably a lot more quickly. Within the next 5 years, we will definitely see the face and the landscape of real estate change. So this is a story that intertwines legal decisions with the lives of everyday people, and especially those in minority communities who are striving for a piece of the American dream. So as we explore the nuances of this case, its historical context and what it means for all of us, I want you to remember this isn't just news. This is a narrative that may redefine the path to homeownership for many people. And so it's a narrative where we can all play a part in shaping the outcome. So after we delve into the article, we're going to discuss some proactive solutions that don't just address the challenges, but also open doors to opportunities and positive change. So let's just get down to the article. We're going to unravel the layers of this topic together. And your thoughts and questions and insights are always what make this show the best right now. So if you are watching live on Facebook, feel free to jump in and comment, give me your feedback. And let's dive into this article, How the Sitzer-Burnett Decision Hurts Minority Homebuyers. This article just was published today. It begins, the verdict is in. The old way of doing business is over. Mika Dillard, a single mother of 3, recently closed on her first home. As a first-time homebuyer, she was not familiar with the process and leaned heavily on her real estate agent, Pierre Douglas of Keller Williams Realty, for guidance. Like many first-time homebuyers, Dillard didn't have an adequate Douglas was familiar with a number of programs that existed in their community and sought out a lender who provided her with a state funded grant as well as two additional grants available in her neighborhood. He educated her on the process, negotiated with the seller, and connected her with the resources needed to complete the transaction. As a result of Douglas's advocacy, relationships, and representation, Dillard was able to get all of her down payment and closing costs covered, resulting in a lower than expected mortgage payment for her. This story is familiar for many buyers and for many people of color who have for generations lagged behind in homeownership rates. The buyer's agent plays a significant role in first-time home buyers attaining homeownership, providing education, resources, and much needed guidance, especially in cases where no one in their previous generations have yet reaped the benefit of homeownership. The Sitzer-Burnett Commission case has the potential to reshape the dynamics of agent commissions and buyer representation, which could have a ripple effect on various aspects of the real estate industry. While discussions often focus on the financial implications for real estate professionals, what often goes unnoticed is its potential impact on fair housing, especially for minority buyers in pursuit of homeownership. Let's dissect how changes in commission structures may impact representation and affordability, exacerbating existing disparities in the housing market. Homeownership has consistently been proven as the most effective way to build generational wealth. According to a 2020 Federal Reserve study, homeowners in the U.S. have a net worth 40 times that of renters. However, racial differences in household wealth are some of the most visible and impactful manifestations of racial inequality in the United States. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, white households had 8 times as much wealth as Black households in the US. And in 2022, the median wealth among white families was $285,000, $61,600 for Hispanic households, and $44,900 for Black households. Most of the wealth disparities are a direct result of disparities in homeownership. The homeownership gap refers to the differences between homeownership rates by racial group. According to the Federal Reserve Board, in 2022, the Black homeownership rate was 45%, while the white homeownership rate was 74%. The gap in the homeownership rate between Black families and white families in the US is bigger today than it was when it was illegal to refuse to sell someone a home because of the color of their skin. The Sitzer-Burnett trial recently concluded with the jury ruling in favor of the plaintiffs. In the aftermath of the trial, counsel for the plaintiffs claimed on CNBC that homeowners were victims of a quote unquote rigged system. The term rigged system is not entirely inaccurate, but it is entirely incorrect when applied in this context. The historical discrimination ingrained in housing policies at federal, state, and local levels has created significant disparities. In 1934, the federal government began backing and insuring home mortgage loans, creating FHA and VA loans to reduce the down payment people needed to buy a home and increase the opportunities for home ownership. To reduce perceived risk, the government adopted loan underwriting standards, publishing those standards in the FHA underwriting manual. One of the key elements was segregation of people by race and ethnicity. This furthered the segregation efforts by refusing to insure mortgages in and near African American neighborhoods, a policy we know as redlining. At the same time, the FHA was subsidizing builders who were mass producing entire subdivisions for whites, actively promoting racially restrictive covenants with the requirement that none of the homes be sold to African Americans. Although deed restrictions were declared unenforceable by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1948, Shelley v. Kramer, the practices persisted through the 50s and the 60s. They were later made illegal by the Fair Housing Act in 1968. However, the Fair Housing Act was not enforced by HUD until 1988. The damage done by the many decades of redlining, deed restriction, and other discriminatory practices can be compared to the impact of compounding interest and have resulted in today's current homeownership gap. A rigged system? Indeed, it was. Many Americans have been a victim of a rigged system for centuries, but not in the context of buyer representation. A recent study conducted by the Urban Institute found that 68% of renters identify saving for a down payment as the greatest barrier to homeownership. Traditional mortgages typically require a down payment of at least 3% up to 20% of the home's purchase price. Saving a substantial amount of money can be difficult for those just entering the housing market. According to the second quarter 2023 National Association of Realtors Housing Affordability Index, home buyers need $98,429 to qualify for a home loan. The problem is that the median family income sits around $91,270. Any increase in transaction costs or fees as a result of changes in commission structures may exacerbate existing financial challenges. The recent commission lawsuit alleged that the National Association of Realtors and several large brokerages had artificially conspired to inflate the commissions paid to real estate agents. Specifically, the suit alleged that home sellers were required to pay commissions to the buyer's agent, which sellers claimed forced them to pay excessive fees to the agents. The truth is that the buyer's agent compensation is negotiable. In Dillard and Douglas's case, Dillard signed a buyer representation agreement that indicated she would be responsible for paying the buyer broker commission unless the commission was received by the seller's agent, which it was. But what if it hadn't been? Would Dillard have been able to pay for her representation out of pocket when the down payment was already a barrier? Homeownership is already a considerable financial undertaking. If sellers are prohibited or deterred from paying a buyer's broker commission, it could cause additional barriers and exacerbate existing disparities. For Black or Hispanic individuals whose median incomes are notably lower than their white counterparts, the prospect of increasing transaction costs creates an even more challenging obstacle, making it harder for them to navigate the already intricate and costly process of purchasing a home, and in some cases, causing them to delay making a purchase. According to the Federal Reserve, in the United States, the average Black and Hispanic or Latino households earn about half as much as the average white household. In 2021, households whose head was classified as Asian or white had median incomes that were higher than the national median, while households headed by people classified as Black or Hispanic had median incomes that were lower than the national median. The median household income for Asian families was $101,418. For white families, it was $77,999. For Hispanic families, $57,981. and only $48,297 for Black families. As discussions around the Sitzer Burnett Commission case unfold, it's important to consider the potential ramifications on buyers' access to information and representation. As demonstrated by the story of Dillard and Douglas, the role of buyer's agents in the real estate transaction process is crucial as they serve as advocates for home buyers, providing representation and guidance throughout the complex journey of purchasing a home. Any changes to commission structure may influence the level of service and attention buyers receive. If these changes greatly if these changes reduce agent resources or incentives to work with certain demographics, it could limit access to crucial information and representation for minority homebuyers, hindering their ability to make informed decisions. The additional expense of buyer representation may cause buyers to forego buying altogether. When a buyer is unrepresented in a transaction, the listing agent may be the only licensed party in the transaction and thus solely represent the seller. The inability to pay for representation puts the buyer at a severe disadvantage. The buyer's agent protects the buyer's interest throughout the transaction, ensuring that the contract terms favor the buyer. They negotiate the purchase price, contingencies, and other terms on behalf of the buyer. Buyer's agents provide valuable guidance to ensure clients understand and comply with all legal requirements, inform them about market conditions, pricing trends, and potential challenges. This empowers buyers to make informed decisions. Having buyer representation is advantageous for buyers. Sadly, discrimination in housing persists. According to the 2022 NAR Snapshot of Race and Home Buying in America report, 50% of Hispanic and Latino home buyers, 48% of Asian home buyers, and 46% of Black home buyers state that they experience steering in their home buying process. Steering is the practice of influencing a buyer's choice of communities based upon one of the protected characteristics under the Fair Housing Act. Working with real estate agents who will properly represent buyers regardless of race, location, or compensation structures is critical to the pool of home buyers' view and also to buyer satisfaction. The Sitzer Burnett Commission case is not just about changes in agent commissions. It's about the broader implications for the accessibility of homeownership, especially for minority communities. As the real estate industry grapples with these potential shifts, it's crucial to maintain a focus on preserving fair housing principles and ensuring that any changes do not inadvertently widen existing disparities. Proactive measures, such as ensuring equitable access to information, advocating for fair representation, and closely monitoring affordability concerns, are essential in mitigating the potential disproportionate impact on minority homebuyers. A thoughtful and inclusive approach to these discussions is essential to safeguarding the dream of homeownership for all. We've started to unpack the complexities of the Sitzer Burnett case with that article and its profound implications for homeownership, particularly in minority communities. This is more than just a legal battle. It's a pivotal moment that could shape the landscape of real estate and equity for years to come. We're going to take a short break, and I encourage you during the break to ponder this. How can we transform this challenge into an opportunity for meaningful change? How can we ensure that the lessons of the past are not just remembered, but acted upon? Stay with us as we continue this important conversation. And when we return, we're going to delve deeper into potential solutions and how each of us can contribute to a more fairer, more inclusive future in homeownership. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we will be right back.
Empowerment Center, also known as the FEC, is a public service offered by the City of Sacramento through which local residents can receive professional, personalized one-on-one financial coaching. Sometimes when people think of a free service, we might think of it as low quality, but we're really the opposite of that. We strive to be super high quality in everything that we do in our work. I know people tend to be hesitant about talking about financial issues. It's something that, in our culture is not always acceptable to talk about, but just know that this is a safe space at the FEC.
So as a financial coach, my role is to be a guide. It's to equip my clients, to give them the tools and the resources, helping them with savings, with access to safe and affordable banking, increasing and improving their credit, reducing their debt, to build on the knowledge they already have, to help them meet those goals.
Anytime that you are partnering with somebody to meet your goals, it's very empowering because you have that extra person to motivate you. After the program, I feel more empowered to make better financial decisions and budget more effectively. My credit has shot up tremendously. I feel very great about the future. I'm almost ready to buy a home. I'm actually looking right now.
We offer services in both English and Spanish, and we also offer interpretation services in many other languages as well.
Bueno, mi experiencia, puedo decir que fue muy bien. Fue genial porque aprendí mucho y la verdad me ayudó como a abrir los ojos en realidad en los gastos que hacíamos y también necesitaba aprender más acerca de las cuentas de ahorros para los niños y el poder ahorrar un poquito para lo del colegio. Entonces antes pues gastábamos sin necesitarlo y ahora me hace como más consciente en lo que en verdad necesito y a lo que quiero. Bueno, pues ahora tengo esperanza en que pronto llegaremos a comprar una casa.
This work of the FEC is really personally meaningful to me because I grew up with really excellent parents, but they did struggle with money, and so I saw really firsthand the kind of struggles that creates, the stress. And that kind of stress is something that really affects people's physical health, their mental health. So to now be able to do work to help other folks both avoid crisis and also reach their goals, that's really personally satisfying for me.
For someone who's considering the program, my advice to you would be to just sign up and go for it. There's nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, which is financial responsibility and financial empowerment. You have a group of supportive counselors here to help you and nurture you along the way.
If you're interested in working with a financial empowerment coach, we would love to support you. So please give us a call at 916-808-4927 or email us at fec@cityofsacramento.org.
Hey everyone, we're back. Quick shout out to Miss Emma Ty. I see your comment there. Thank you for sharing this information because that's my main issue, the down payment. We got you, sis. We got you. We are back and welcome back. We are delving into a crucial and timely topic, the potential future implications of the Sitzer-Burnett case. As we navigate through this discussion, and it's important to understand that we are at a pivotal moment, much like other historical moments that have highlighted racial inequity. If we think about 40 acres and a mule, that opportunity to give back, to make up for the I just get a little emotional. Yes, just thinking about it because I feel like this is another significant moment in history where it will happen again. Right, we are on the precipice of being able to restore an entire group of people who have been disenfranchised for 400 years. And at the moment when that generation can make reparation, some other official or authority figure comes in and just swipes it out from under their feet. And then generations later, when those who were involved and who were aware knew about it and are dead and long gone, and now you have their children's children's children in charge. They don't know anything about it, don't have any recollection, weren't there, didn't do it, wasn't them, are not suffering in the same manner from the consequences of it, but that group of people still are. Which generation is going to have the courage to stop kicking the can down the road, further disenfranchising? We see what happens when you don't take care of those who are the least of you. When you stop taking care of those who are the least of you and you start creating situations that pigeonhole them into desperate situations, crime rises, homelessness increases. And that's not going to go away until you take care of it. This lawsuit isn't just a legal matter. It's a mirror reflecting long-standing issues in our society, particularly in the real estate industry. Our focus today is not only on understanding these implications, but also on exploring how we can proactively use this moment as an opportunity for positive change. How can we, as a community and an industry, learn from the past and take decisive steps to prevent another chapter of racial inequity in homeownership? That's the question we're tackling today. So let's dive back into our conversation. That article from Inman discusses the implications of that case on minority homebuyers and the real estate industry. It highlights the historical and ongoing challenges faced by minority communities in achieving homeownership and the crucial role of the buyer's agent in aiding first-time, often minority homebuyers. The article stressed the importance of fair representation and access to information for these buyers, especially in light of the potential changes in commission structures. The case's outcome could have significant effects on the accessibility of homeownership for minorities, emphasizing the need for equitable practices in the real estate sector. So, based on the concerns raised in the article, I'm going to present to you a list of some alternative solutions that I believe the real estate industry and consumers can consider. And I would love to hear your feedback. And I'll open the phone lines. Yes. If you'd like to chime in on this discussion, give us a call at 916-921-5333. 916-921-5333. So I'm going to read to you some alternative solutions. So I put together what I'm calling a white paper. It explores actionable strategies to address these challenges. Number one, addressing these disparities requires a multifaceted approach involving education, policy reform, community support, and industry-wide changes. These are things that I literally have been thinking of for the past 20 years since I've been in the industry. It's a lot. Not one person can do it, but we have to put it out there. We've got to put it on the table. Being in the industry for over 21 years, when you see some things, you can no longer unsee them, and you have to do something about it. You've got to put it out there and put light on it that there is an issue. So number one, there are three key challenges that we're being faced with. Number one is limited access to information. Historically, we have been challenged with limited access to information. Many minority homebuyers lack awareness of financial assistance programs and the home buying process. The second key challenge is inequitable representation. The potential shift in commission structures could disproportionately impact minority buyers. When I say inequitable representation, that the potential shift in commission structures is definitely going to disproportionately impact minority buyers, but there is inequitable representation that exists right now. Number 3. Oh, let's take this call. Do we have it right here? There you go. 97.5. Hello. Yes, ma'am. We'd love to get your feedback. Mhm. Are you saying that was through NACA?
I didn't go through NACA. I lied. I'm just saying. I didn't even know about NACA. I just used their name, and it worked.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still in that same house.
Awesome. So that is an excellent example of perseverance and of you taking the lead. Sometimes people give up, right? But you didn't give up.
That's right. That's it.
But there are a lot of us who don't have that information. And so when we don't have the information, we don't feel as empowered as you felt. Thank you for sharing that story. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you so much for calling.
All right. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. So that's a perfect example of why there's a need for more access to information. When you don't know what you don't know, you feel like you are not empowered enough to ask the right questions, and you have to take whatever you get. And that's where we also get inequitable representation. I know many people who have had experiences with lenders and real estate agents who felt compelled to use them when they were offering them subpar service. And you should not have to put up with that, but you don't know that you don't have to put up with that when you don't know any better. So the key challenges: limited access to information, inequitable representation, and the third is systemic barriers. And those are historical policies and ongoing practices that contribute to the homeownership gap. So here are some solutions. Under strategic solutions, we have education and awareness programs. And you've heard me, if you've listened to my show for any length of time, you've heard me talk about SAC Club 100. The SAC Club 100 community is my effort at addressing the education and awareness that's needed in our community. It can be much larger. Individuals who go through the program say they know somebody that should have been there, but we are only at the beginning. Let me talk about this a little bit more. The increased education and awareness programs. We need to develop more comprehensive programs that educate not only potential home buyers, but real estate professionals as well about the challenges that are faced by minority communities, including information on grants and financial assistance. Number 2, fair representation initiatives. We need to implement training for real estate agents that are focused on ethical practices and anti-discrimination laws. We need to ensure fair representation of minority home buyers. It needs to be a requirement to become a real estate professional. If you have ever studied for the real estate exam, or you are a real estate agent, or you have taken the real estate exam, the test, it has nothing to do with actually being out there and representing a buyer or a seller on a day-to-day scenario. And it really needs to talk more about that. The level of information contained in the test itself to become a real estate agent, that bar needs to be raised. So this training could include training for real estate agents on anti-discrimination laws and ethical practices. I would even go so far as to say there needs to be some psychological testing done as well. We do it for police officers. If we're talking about real estate being one of the largest and fastest and most impactful ways to gain generational wealth, if you don't think somebody might try to stand in front of you to prevent you from getting something that they could have and won't care or be concerned about how to do it or how to take it from you, look at history. Number 3, community-based homeownership support. We need to create community programs that offer financial counseling, down payment assistance, and post-purchase support to assist minority home buyers throughout the home buying process. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 specialty companies that have been out there forever collecting all of these federal dollars, stuffing their coffers. I won't name any of them, but I'll tell you this: if they're so effective, why are our numbers still so low? If they are so effective, why are our communities still looking the same? So we need to create effective community programs that offer financial counseling that's effective, down payment assistance that's effective, post-purchase support that is effective. Number 4, policy advocacy. Advocate for policy reforms that address structural barriers in the real estate market and promote equitable commission structures. Number 5, partnerships with financial institutions. Collaborate with banks to develop mortgage products and financial programs tailored to meet the needs of minority buyers with flexible qualification criteria. And I know that there are some banks out there right now that are already doing this. But what took so long? I'm not going to, I'll just say this: we need to do more of it. It needs to become a standard practice. Enhanced transaction transparency. Ensure transparency in real estate transactions with clear disclosure of fees, commissions, and agent responsibilities. And this goes back to the real estate agent training. Real estate agents in the industry need to have a similar process of how they do business. Right now, it is literally the wild, wild west. You've got agents who are part-time, no time, 1 transaction, 20 transactions, on the phone, sometimes not on the phone, answering calls, not answering calls, putting listings up, and you don't know when they're going to respond to your offer. I mean, it's just all over the place. You would not find that in any other industry where we get paid the amount of money that we get paid. That's not happening in an attorney's office. There are systems and processes. That is not happening at Kaiser or Methodist. There are systems and processes in place. But in the real estate industry, an individual agent can make their own rules on how they conduct business as long as they don't break the law. And I mean, that's just it's too wide of a chasm. There needs to be a standard of how business is conducted in the industry to help ensure that there's equity, that people are being treated fairly. Industry diversification. Support efforts to diversify the real estate workforce, ensuring representation that reflects community demographics. And I've talked about this before. If we look at or revisit those stats that I talked about earlier, and the majority of homeowners don't look like those who are being sidelined, those homeowners hire a listing agent. That listing agent becomes the gatekeeper. 9 times out of 10, that listing agent is going to look like them, think like them. We can only hope. We can only hope. And it should not be this way. We should not have to hope that the listing agent, who is the gatekeeper over the property that I'm trying to get access to, is fair and equitable. It should be a requirement. Technological solutions. Leverage technology to improve access to listings, market information, and resources, simplifying the home buying process for minority communities. This one I'm especially excited about because this deals directly with where some of these companies who have tried to break into the industry for a while have failed, but they keep trying. And the more you try, the more you fail, you're just learning more and you're coming back stronger. And I think this is where we're going to see real estate really, really change. I mean, like how it's done, I think it's going to change through technology. And so, for example, if you've heard of Carvana, Carvana, where you can buy your car online. I bought my current car through Carvana, got rid of my Infinity, went online, did it all through my cell phone and computer. Sold my car on Carvana. Sold my Infinity on Carvana. They cut me a check. They applied that because I found a new car on Carvana. They applied that money to my new car, came with a big old truck, just like in the commercial, dropped off one car, picked up the other. I never had to touch a car lot. Did not, y'all, how long it take to go to a car? When you go to a car lot to buy a car, you are not getting out of there any sooner than 2.5, 3 hours. I would say it took me longer to look through and find a car than the total transaction of buying the car and selling the car. I think that's where we're headed with real estate. I'm not sure how it's going to happen, but I think that's where we're headed. And that would definitely make things more fair and equitable. The same price that I bought my car for is the same price that it was being offered to anyone who was looking. So technological solutions. Number 10 is community engagement. Increase outreach to minority communities, building trust and providing tailored home buying assistance. So tackling the challenges faced by minority home buyers, it requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders. We're all in this together. This is about minorities, but it ultimately serves everyone. Again, what you do for the least of us, you do for all. The more we do for those who cannot help themselves, the better off we all will be. Because as they grow stronger, they then rely less on our resources. It's not rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. It is not rocket science. It's just a matter of which generation is going to have the courage to pay the debt owed. Which generation is going to finally restore this community that has been disenfranchised for 500 years? Will we see it in our day? I don't know. I'm hopeful, but while I'm here, I'm going to do what I can in my little piece of the world, as long as God is willing. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. We're going to take a short break. I'm Agent Key, and I'll be right back.
Financial Empowerment Center, also known as the FEC, is a public service offered by the City of Sacramento through which local residents can receive professional, personalized one-on-one financial coaching. Sometimes when people think of a free service, we might think of it as low quality, but we're really the opposite of that. We strive to be super high quality in everything that we do at our work. I know people tend to be hesitant about talking about financial issues. It's something that, in our culture is not always acceptable to talk about, but just know that this is a safe space at the FEC.
So as a financial coach, my role is to be a guide. It's to equip my clients, to give them the tools and the resources, helping them with savings, with access to safe and affordable banking, increasing and improving their credit, reducing their debt, to build on the knowledge they already have, to help them meet those goals.
Anytime that you are partnering with somebody to meet your goals, it's very empowering because you have that extra person to motivate you. After the program, I feel more empowered to make better financial decisions and budget more effectively. My credit has shot up tremendously. I feel very great about the future. I'm almost ready to buy a home. I'm actually looking right now.
We offer services in both English and Spanish, and we also offer interpretation services in many other languages as well.
Bueno, mi experiencia, puedo decir que fue muy bien. Fue genial porque aprendí mucho y la verdad me ayudó como a abrir los ojos en realidad en los gastos que hacíamos y también necesitaba aprender más acerca de las cuentas de ahorros para los niños y el poder ahorrar un poquito para lo del colegio. Entonces antes pues gastábamos sin necesitarlo y ahora me hace como más consciente en lo que en verdad necesito y a lo que quiero. Bueno, pues ahora tengo esperanza en que pronto llegaremos a comprar una casa.
This work of the FEC is really personally meaningful to me because I grew up with really excellent parents, but they did struggle with money, and so I saw really firsthand the kind of struggles that creates, the stress. And that kind of stress is something that really affects people's physical health, their mental health. So to now be able to do work to help other folks both avoid crisis and also reach their goals, that's really personally satisfying for me.
For someone who's considering the program, my advice to you would be to just sign up and go for it. There's nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, which is financial responsibility and financial empowerment. You have a group of supportive counselors here to help you and nurture you along the way.
If you're interested in working with a financial empowerment coach, we would love to support you. So please give us a call at 916-808-4927 or email us at fec@cityofsacramento.org.
We are back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we are Selling Sacramento, transforming the future of home ownership in America, a new chapter in real estate equality. We are near the end of the show. There is so much more, so many more details about the outline that I just shared with you. And I want to touch on just a few more in detail and So the last thing I spoke about was community engagement. Technological solutions, again, is just one where I think it's going to be a really big game-changing moment. And community engagement, when we talk about the community engagement piece, in addition to technological solutions, in addition to fair housing practices, in addition to industry diversification, all of it ultimately equals reform. And I think I have said this before on this show. I know I've said it a million times. Our real estate industry was built on discriminatory practices. When you build something on something bad, a bad foundation, you can't continue to build on that. You have to break it down and start over. When the foundation is bad, there is no room for growth. Our numbers are not getting better because of the foundation. Again, this is not rocket science. We haven't even gone in with the laws and policies that are currently implemented, that have been instituted, that we're running on, is like the spackle. We've spackled the cracks. But we all know what happens with spackle over time. In order to keep it solid, you got to you got to keep spackling. And after time, it just starts to look ugly and it's ineffective. Our numbers are not changing. Do we want to see those numbers change? The current entities who've been in place, the gatekeepers and safeguards, and those organizations who are out in front representing, quote unquote, us, are ineffective for today. They are the Radio Shack of the industry. They are the Sears. I had a long conversation last night with someone about, why did Sears go away? They were such a powerhouse. Sears Automotive, they sold everything. Furniture. You could get your photos taken there. Remember that? You could get your hair done. You could buy appliances and clothes. Tuxedos. Sears had it all. But you know what Sears' problem was? We concluded. We thought about this was crazy. When you got these kind of friends in your circle, you can have these kinds of conversations. Here's what Sears' problem was. Do y'all remember where Sears was located? One spot. One spot in the South, one spot in the North. So if I'm a budding entrepreneur and I see Sears is selling appliances, and people are really, Sears appliance section was popping. That's a potential moneymaker. But if I open up several appliance places, people won't have to go as far. And they would come to my store and stop going to Sears. Or if I took any store, any department in Sears, pulled it out and created one chain of stores spread around, smaller, not as big as Sears, because I just needed to be the size enough, but put them around more communities. Now you don't have to go all the way to Sears to find that product. You can go right down the block to your neighborhood shopping plaza. Remember, y'all, how shopping plazas just started popping up now all over the place? There used to just be Flora Mall and Sunrise Mall. Now we've got Delta Shores. We've got all the little, in your own little neighborhood, you have strip malls. Yes. The invention of the strip mall. You got your own Target. You've got your own. There are 2 Kohl's in Elk Grove. And Elk Grove is like a 10-mile by 10-mile city, but they've got 2 Kohl's. So that is how Sears got taken out, according to me and my friend last night as we were talking. But so ingenuity, times change, things change, people's needs change. When you're already built on this foundation that is not solid, that is raggedy, it is definitely time for change. So let's not look at this finding. Let's not look at the outcome of this court case as something negative. The Sitzer-Burnett decision. When you hear Sitzer-Burnett decision in real estate and commissions, don't look at it as a negative. Let's look at it as an opportunity to do the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. I want to thank my viewers online for watching. Miss Tiff, I see you, lady. Thank you all for watching online. And I am hopeful that today's show informed you, educated you, empowered you. Tune in again next week for more valuable insights brought to you by Selling Sacramento, brought to you by Matthews & Company Realty Group. Make money, save time, and sell your home fast with me, Agent Key, the voice you know and love and trust when it comes to selling Sacramento. Get started today at agentkey.com, agentkee.com. And until next time, strength, wellness, and love. And remember, if you are doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top. Bye, y'all.